Welcome to the Changemaker's Corner, powered by Fuel, an interview series spotlighting different grassroots leaders, social impact innovators, and young changemakers across Toronto and the GTA. At Changemaker's Corner, we pull back the curtain on changemaking work, shine a light on the realities of the social impact sector, and reimagine a better future for meaningful and authentic change in our communities. Learn more about Fuel at fuelchange.org and on social media at Fueling Changemakers. A special edition, the YAC edition, the Fuel Youth Advisory Committee edition with none other than Maria, a young changemaker and a member of our community. How are you doing, Maria?
I'm doing so well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you feeling?
Feeling great. It's such like a wonderful day. It's so nice and mild for November. Like, what? I'm just so blessed. It's so sunny, got some vitamin D in, and yeah, feeling good. How are you?
I am good. I don't know if I'm as good as you, but I'm trying to get to that level. I heard that I'm trying to match your energy right now. Let's get right into it.
Okay.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your change-making journey. What has that looked like for you? How did you get to this point?
Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you so much, Patrick. I think my change-making journey has been a really strenuous journey, just because I've overcome so many obstacles in my life, and my life has really been marked by a lot of adversity that has not only changed me and this continuance of growth in my life, but I think that through my experiences, I have been able to really harness that pain that I've been through and really turn it into power. And so where I find myself now in terms of my journey is that I seek to amplify, the voice of the voiceless. I seek to really take action and really draw up new creative ideas to the drawing board and really get involved in many, many capacities on every which level that I can. Just because, I want to be able to help make a difference and help make a change and help those with similar experiences to mine, to really show them that there is a hope, there is a future for you, no matter what your experience may be. And adversity stands the test of time, and it's all about really being able not only to advocate for others, but in turn advocate for yourself. So I think that's where I'm at right now, where for a long time I've been advocating for others, but now I'm also learning how to advocate for myself as well. And of course it comes down to, thankfully for all the amazing work that we do at Fuel, that's also helped me along my journey. So I'm so grateful for that.
Thanks for saying that, Maria. Yeah, I know a little bit about your story, and it is really inspiring, and I am happy that you're here now and trying to, leverage is not the right word, but trying to be inspired by the hardships that you've been through to continue not only helping yourself, but help other people who have gone through a similar experience. Because that's, a lot of people who are in Changemakers work, a lot of the time they find themselves there because of things that they've been through.
Yeah.
Is that the same for you?
In a way, yes. But also, I feel like having a personal connection to certain issues and certain realms and, however you identify and what background you come from, what community you associate with. Of course, I feel like that is the easiest realm, but sometimes, there are different capacities where you see certain injustices happening to certain groups where you do want to align yourself with whatever the issue or predicament may be and, advocate on that side too as well. But it depends on circumstance, of course. But I think overall, yes, I think I typically like to advocate for issues that I have personal experience with, just because I can't speak on a lot of experiences that others may face that I don't have a direct correlation. I believe that's just not my place, because it's hard to speak on something when you don't know, of course, if you haven't lived through it. And, I feel like life is all about living, of course, and experience.
Yeah, it's part of it.
So I think when it comes to my personal work, I really do try to focus on my lived experience, and of course keep an open mind, keep open ears, in terms of, listening to experiences of others and learning from others is so big to me. So yeah, I think that's kind of how I navigate through the realm, and really just always have my best foot forward and always have my ears open and my eyes open, ready and eager to learn from others.
I love that, and thank you. But I think you said something important too, is that, like, yes, some change makers do find themselves here because of personal things they've been through, but I think saying that is not to devalue that there is a very important process of seeing things happen in the world and being like, this may not be happening directly to me, but I believe it to be wrong, right? I believe that it shouldn't be that way. And what can I do to not only educate myself, but actually act? To like lend my voice, my hands, my feet to something that may not affect me personally, but is something that I believe morally is wrong and needs to change. I think that's a beautiful thing too.
Yeah, exactly. You just summarized that like perfectly. So yeah, like I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, thanks. But you said it. I was just saying it again. You said it, and I was just repeating what you said. So, like, couple questions. Like, so what does your change-making journey look like now? Like, what are you doing in community? What are the different things you're a part of? This is kind of like your little moment of your spotlight. You do a lot, and I see that you do a lot. But like, what are some things that you've worked on in the past few years that come to mind that you're really passionate about?
So there's a number of things that come to mind, but I do really focus myself in like youth empowerment. It's something really, really big for me. So whether that be being a youth mentor at the Jean Augustine Center, at Elevate Youth Toronto, I've mentored young people as young as 12, 13 to as old as 20, 21 years old. I've also sat on multiple boards and committees. I currently sit at the Toronto Foundation for Youth Involvement in Politics, where we vote, not we vote, but we focus on voting rights for young people, and we also really work towards enhancing, youth participation in the political realm, and also just like involvement in, local governance and whatnot. That's something that I've been working on heavily. And I think something that this year that was an amazing experience, getting to work alongside Vote 16 Canada and being able to bring, the bill to Senator McPherson, and going to Ottawa to the Senate of Canada and having this bill actually being read at the Senate. It didn't go through the first reading, but there will be a second reading. And so that has been like a phenomenal journey to be a part of. And, being a national fellow this year for Results Canada, I'm so grateful for Results Canada as well. Really just opening the doors of tackling advocacy in a way that, is very instrumentalized and very gives you the strategies. Because of course, anybody can be an advocate, anybody can use their voice, anybody can post on social media, but actually using those strategies in terms of, how to write an LTE, like a letter to the editor, how to write an op-ed, how to reach out to your member of parliament, how to connect with other like-minded individuals, or what agencies are across the realm or across the country that, really speak on a lot of the issues. So this year, working with Results Canada and being a national fellow has been such a blessing and truly an honor, because it's opened so many doors. And, we were actually able to get the Minister of International Development to increase the Gavi funding this year because of our collaborative works. So that is amazing. I love the work at Results Canada as well. In addition to that, I was also a national youth ambassador for Raising the Roof Canada, which is a homelessness initiative where I organized One Night Toronto, which was a one night where we all slept in vehicles for the night and raised money towards the Reside program, and where Raising the Roof Canada buys properties or, buys listings and turns them into affordable housing complexes for those who are homeless. And that was just such a beautiful, beautiful initiative, and to really take action. And it's such a hard issue. especially with the housing crisis that's ongoing here, and not only here in Toronto, but across the country and in many places of the world, of course. But just to be able to take some action here on the ground, here at home, and be able to participate in that capacity and do the best that I could. And, all the other, ambassadors from across Canada, we weren't alone. It was a huge initiative to do. But thankfully, the staff at Raising the Roof Canada is so supportive and was really there along each and every way. And it's been this year has been such an amazing journey. All in all, working with Fuel again has been amazing, and, just become such a family for me as well. In addition to that, I think most recently as well, I've been really proactive and a little more proactive in the Latin American community as well. Just recently we brought Latin American Heritage Month to Queen's Park at the Ontario Legislature for the first time, and it was amazing. There was a lot of cross-partisan members of provincial parliament who came and attended and was able just to come together and really just welcome us, and that was something very, very huge because it hasn't been done before. And in addition to all of this amazing good stuff, I've been getting really, really involved in program management, more focusing on, UN advocacy for a local nonprofit that started here called Bachelor. And they are a group that focuses primarily on the Bangladeshi community, but they also speak to communities, like all communities of youth and women and any marginalized group. So with them, it's been really great work as well. I had the opportunity to go out to the Summit of the Future at the UN and, meet such amazing people and really, do some volunteering work out there and participate. And I just felt so inspired. I think the last few years, it's been really tough, in general, when it came to focusing on my advocacy work, because, being a young change maker, of course you want to devolve into the things you love to do, but of course you have to make some sort of income. I love to volunteer, so it's been, trying to give back so much, but then at the same time trying to focus on your own needs, of course. But truly right now in my journey, I really feel like things are going phenomenal, and I really, really want to keep going, keep pushing, and keep challenging the status quo and keep breaking glass ceilings, and not just for my sake, but for the next to come, so that they can see that glass ceilings can't be broken, that you can challenge the system, that you can be whoever you are and, still make change. And it can be on any level. So I just really, really want to emphasize that.
Wow, look at that. I'm sorry, thank you. And I was trying hard to not snap and let you say it without kind of an overwhelming positive response and reaction to what you're saying, but it was so beautiful, and you're doing so much. And first of all, thank you. I think that the communities that you're part of, though we may not always hear it, are so grateful for what you do, and Fuel is going to continue to try to support you on your journey as much as we can. A couple more questions, take us to the end. But again, just want to recognize all the amazing work you're doing, and I hope that you leave today just celebrating that. And it's been a hard year. It really has for a lot of people, and I think that your commitment to doing better for yourself and for your community and holding those two things at once is brave.
Yeah. That's a word that I hear all the time. People just tell me I'm just so brave, and I'm just I just don't see it because that's just who I am. And but I'm so appreciative of that. I'm so thankful for all the work, of course, we do at Fuel and all the experiences. And honestly, thank you so much. That means the world to me to, hear that support, and, it just warms me up in all the right ways. So thanks.
Yes, and yeah, we don't always see it. Like I think naturally, we're like, especially like kids of immigrants and stuff, like, we're not always equipped with like receiving that love very well. And, but that's why I think community is so important. So we could give that to each other, and when we can't see that in ourselves, that we could get that from somebody else. And I think that exchange is beautiful. And I think there is something to be said about being able to like harness confidence, like from within and internally. But I also do think the value of community and external validation and support is really important. Okay, I think we have a couple more questions. I think we're really good for time anyway, so I want to take about 3 more minutes. You mentioned a lot about youth advocacy, youth voice, youth empowerment. Why for you? Why is it young people? What is that connection for you, supporting young people and youth empowerment? Why is that so important for you?
Because I feel like in this world today, the world today is not what it was 20, 30 years ago. Not even from a retrospective point, technology is growing more than ever. Our social culture, our pop culture is so significantly different. Mm-hmm. And I think, I think I primarily focus on youth and young people, but, I do divulge into like other realms, women's issues as well. But women's issues are co-related or related to young people's issues because you can't coincide in society without, these two issues are interdependent on one another, right? So I think why I focus on youth primarily is because, of course, it's empowering the next generation. It's empowering, young people that they can be civic leaders, that they can go out there and, take their ideas and bring them out to the world and people will hear you. And I think it's about changing the status quo, especially here in Canada. It's so different because maybe there's a slight shift now, but prior to, there wasn't really much of a focus on young people, people who are, in high school or middle school or in university or, young adults, it's such like a big paradigm. And I think that it's so important to give young people the tools to be able to advocate for themselves, speak for themselves, speak up for themselves, so that when they come into adulthood, they can have these skills. And especially, this is a new age for us, especially because coming out of the pandemic and, this really impacts the social relations people have with one another, and not just, between each other, but between, all sectors of like we operate with, day to day. So I think that, focusing on young people, it not only gives them the tools and skills and supports, but gives them, the experience of, social community and social capital. Like I am such a firm believer on building social capital, for the people, by the people. And I think passing that on to the next generation and pushing young people that you're never too young to start. Like if you have a dream, if you have a problem or a solution to a problem you want to bring to the community, like take it out there. And I know like on the grassroots level, even for young adults, it's really challenging as well, right? Especially when you're in the middle where you're still a young person, but you're not like, in that kind of more esteemed adult bracket. I don't know what the terminology is, but I think, I think there's a middle gap there, even for young people like myself, where there's a gap between not being, a youth, like a adolescent youth, but not necessarily being considered like, a prominent, full-fledged adult. I don't know why that sounded really weird.
That sounds fine. Yeah, I was gonna say grown up, which is a lot worse than what you're saying. So you're good.
But I think that, I really want to be able to share, not only my experiences, but what's worked for me with others. I've always been like that. Where I'm more than happy to help any person if they need advice or suggestions or techniques. I think just passing that on and changing the agenda and changing the envelope. So we're not here just to sit idly and sit idle back while we watch it all unfold, right? I think now more than ever, young people are slowly coming out of like the COVID rut and snapping back into, you know, who they were meant to be, what they were supposed to do. And I think that it's so empowering. And I hope one day, I do plan to have children someday. And I think for me that's also another thing is that I factor and consider, where it's like, I want my children to grow up in a world where they can speak freely, they can advocate for things, and they can take action. And nothing in this world is crystal clear. Nothing in this world is as it was or ever will be. But at least I want to be able to be along that process, or help them along that process, or be a part of the change in which, when they come up and they're born, they don't go through some of the things that we went through, especially as being people of color and being, first, second generation, and like navigating through this patriarchal, society, and all of these barriers and blockades, and and so that's why I focus on young people, not only for the next generation, but I would like to bring children into a world where I can say, you know what, we're doing our best, and that's enough.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I think we can end it there. Thank you very much for doing this, for being a member of the Youth Advisory Committee, a part of Fuel. You are such an important part of our community. Thanks for sitting down with me today.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.